down and qualify for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where are your ideas for traveling to?
Um, well, besides the ones that I like to go like solo travel myself, California, I heard it has a really easy course, and then Illinois apparently has like a really like flat course the whole way. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're mapping more of like a terrain
yeah.
distance.
I want something very scenic, but I know if I do
Mm,
a scenic route, then I might have to train for that for like the elevation and like I don't know the atmosphere and stuff like that. Like my body can get used to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Welcome,
congrats on your
everyone.
marathon, bro.
Thanks, bro.
What did I hear you ran at 3:05? Is
Yeah,
that
I
what you
did.
said?
Yeah,
That's actually insane, bro.
yeah. I was,
Incredible.
I,
Congrats. That's
I was
wild.
doing really good all the way to like mile 14 because like it was my pace for like my first mile came like at a 5:40 something, and then it was showing that I was averaging like a 6:20. So
That's so wild.
yeah,
Congrats, bro. That's sweet.
thanks.
How you doing,
Ooh,
Keegan?
Bro, I'm doing really good. Just got back from the
Excellent.
bin. Just got back from the bins.
Oh yeah, you get anything?
Dude, I had a really good haul.
No way. I feel like you need to share with us.
Right now,
Yeah. I
uh,
had like a traumatic experience at the bins. It was so like manic. I'm like, I didn't know humans could behave like this. Because they like will haul out the bins and stuff at every 30 minutes and they count down to when you can go tackle them. And I'm like, how is this? Like, we're
yeah,
not,
there's crazy people.
there are crazy people. Yeah. I guess
Okay.
I don't have that desperation, but show us.
All right, first, this is not like clothing, but for my golf club,
Hey, let
my
me see.
driver, Big
Hold on.
Bertha. Nice little thing
Let
to
me
put
see.
on my driver. Big Bertha. Got a nice
Nice.
little thing to put on the driver. Found that at the bins.
Nice, bro.
Uh, might crop this, but it's Fast and Furious like
So tough.
workers shirt. Pretty sick. Fast and Furious.
Nice. That's sick.
Then we
Yeah, we
got
got
like
some good
some like
pickups.
we got some like trench coat or like a raincoat. Pretty cool.
Cute.
J. Crew
Nice.
got that. Um, just a Ron Johns t-shirt. Nothing too much about it, but I have no t-shirts for the summer, so some jorts.
Nice.
Got some of those. Nice little
You really
carp
went wild, bro. You weren't
He really
kidding.
did. That's so cool.
thing. We got some these for like the golf. Nice little. These are like I don't even know what these are. They're weird looking shorts, but they're
Wow.
Ralph Polo.
Incredible. Oh wow, incredible.
Yeah, I got those. This
Yeah,
nice little
really good.
sweater. Got that.
Nice.
Some track
Oh my
pants.
God.
And then I got this just random shirt, but I plan on like cropping. It's like a button-up t-shirt that I plan on cropping, just rock with the jorts. And then I found some Tims. My brother's wearing them right now, but
Mhm.
all for 19 bucks.
That's so sick.
That's wild.
It's so sick.
Congrats.
Thank
Some
you.
good deals. All right. Well, now that we have the haul done, we can probably just end the call. That's it for tonight. I'm just kidding.
All everybody came for.
Okay, so thanks for joining everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week. Um, tonight we're gonna go over adrenal gland, and then we're gonna talk specifically about adrenal fatigue, and we're also gonna talk about caffeine and the negative effects, but also Gemma, you're gonna talk about some of the positive effects, if
Hmm.
I'm correct, right?
Yeah,
So,
just a little.
um, yeah. So it'll just be kind of like, well, caffeine we'll talk about briefly at the end, but we're mainly just going to focus in on adrenal glands. So, and then at the end we can kind of discuss. So, thanks for coming, everybody. This is the last week of circadian rhythm, and so this like falls right in line. The first week we did. I shouldn't try and guess. I have notes. The first week we did food patterns. We did nutrition for circadian rhythm. The second week was the proper sleep setup, which was awesome. And last week was movement, which I missed, but I got to listen to the recap. It was really good. And so it's only fitting to talk about adrenal fatigue for the last part of this month for week 4. So if you missed some of the earlier ones, you could always check the YouTube channel too. We have um, lots of recordings. So I'm going to first send this picture real quick to the chat. I don't know how I can send this, but I'm going to send a diagram or some type of like picture of actual adrenal glands so
Oh,
you guys
cool.
can see this, because I thought I mean, I feel like it's kind of interesting to have like an idea to know like what are we actually talking, what are we talking about here? So if y'all look at that picture, I don't know if it's sent yet, but it's like that kind of yellow orange.
Mm.
It's kind of, you can see it's pretty highlighted, but those are adrenal glands, and they are the kidney, which is really cool. Um, and I'll tell you why in a second. So what is the adrenal gland and like what does it do? So the adrenal gland is the fight or flight response that's responsible for when we have I mean literally like a fight or flight response. It's like adrenaline. You've heard of adrenaline before. We've all felt it. But the um, adrenal gland is responsible for that. It is also for regulating metabolism. It's also for maintaining blood pressure and our electrolyte balance, which is really important for just being well nourished throughout the day. This can affect a lot of things if you don't have your electrolytes balanced properly. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Also, it's good for sex hormones. So that's also good. It is, it is. So I said it's above the kidneys there. And so it's kind of like that got that like triangular or like crescent shape, which is really cool. Um, it's just how it's designed in each of our bodies. It sits on top of the kidney, with the outer adrenal cortex surrounding the inner adrenal medulla. I think that's how you say it. So that's what it is. That's what it's responsible for. Those are the main things it does. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the picture to know like exactly what we're talking about, but that is the adrenal gland. So in case you didn't know, that's a brief summary. Okay, what it is and kind of what it is responsible for. So then we're talking about adrenal fatigue, and this is essentially like burnout. So your adrenal glands are responsible for a big portion of kind of your energy in life. I think it's like it can affect a lot of things when it's not in place. And so I'm going to first go through like all of the negative effects that it can do to your body, and then I'm going to talk about how to kind of fix your adrenal gland, and then how um, these issues even start in the first place. Um, so first thing that you might be feeling to know if your adrenal glands are off, which will affect everything, including circadian rhythm, is symptoms could be such as fatigue, body aches, nervousness, like unnecessary nervousness, or just is nervousness and anxious behavior, sleep issues, digestive issues, chronic fatigue is a big one, brain fog, difficulty handling stress, cravings, um, weakness or dizziness all the time, um, burnout, mental exhaustion, weakened immune system, blood sugar imbalance, hormonal imbalances, cognitive issues. So there's lots of things that could happen that you might be experiencing on a day-to-day basis when you're wondering like where are these issues coming from. You're like, what's going on here? Like every issue, there's always a symptom. It doesn't just these things don't normally just come out of thin air. There's always a reason why. And so it's really interesting because it's not something that's talked about a lot, but adrenal fatigue is a real thing. Um, and it's responsible for a lot of people's issues that just like the normal American or just even any person is experiencing with the loads of caffeine and things they're intaking on a day-to-day basis. So if you're experiencing any of those things, this might be something that is an issue for you. And it might be your adrenal gland. So what that really means, like to like kind of summarize it is it means that you're running your body on overdrive. When your adrenal fatigue is essentially just your body working overtime. And some of the reasons are one of the big things is caffeine. Chronic stress can also dysregulate. So your cortisol levels will be dysregulated with chronic stress. And that chronic stress can come from a lot of things, such as just like overdrive, um, overloading sugars before bedtime, not getting proper sleep. Um, you are working it to the point of exhaustion. So that's what adrenal fatigue really is. It's like you're overworking your body to a point of exhaustion. So the question is how or like what things in our life are messing up our adrenal glands and um, giving us adrenal fatigue. So a lot of let's see, I have some notes on my computer here. But just to go over again why they're important, they help the body respond to stress, regulate blood sugar, which I said, balance electrolytes, support the immune system. And so it's really important that we have this in order here. So let's see. So one of the big things that can overwork or dysregulate them is chronic stress. Like I said, constant stress forces your adrenal glands to produce too much cortisol. So, and we know what cortisol is. It's your sleep hormone. It's a stress hormone that gets released. It's high in the mornings and then it's lower in the evenings so you can sleep well. So chronic stress can really overwork your adrenal glands, which can be really bad for your adrenal glands. Poor sleep habits can really affect it. Inconsistent sleep schedules, frequent late nights, and not getting enough sleep. Deep sleep can throw off cortisol rhythms. So blue light exposure at night, we talked about circadian rhythm and all that stuff. We went over that last, I think, 2 weeks ago. But poor sleep habits really affect our adrenal glands and are essentially we're just overworking it. Excessive stimulants, caffeine, energy drinks, and sugar. Too much caffeine forces the adrenal to pump out adrenaline and cortisol, leading to adrenal exhaustion over time. High sugar intake causes blood sugar crashes, which can stress the adrenal glands. Skipping meals or poor diet is also bad. Overtraining or lack of exercise. Sometimes too much high exercise can really ruin you. So, like, for example, a lot of people that run marathons and do big races, even like Ironmans. That's how I learned about this in the first place. Is I met a guy who kind of coached a lot of people that did Ironmans, and I met him, and we started talking about it. And I was telling him I was planning on doing one. I still am this September, and we were talking, and he was making sure to tell me about adrenal glands, and this is something I never even had heard of up until like I think like 2 months ago, which is just wild. But essentially, you can overwork your adrenal glands so much during a high intense activity like that to the point of exhaustion that you can actually ruin and get like chronic adrenal fatigue for life, which would result in a weakened energy supply, a very weak like energy level, not being able to perform like you used to be able to, very kind of tired all the time, feeling weak, waking up feeling extremely tired, things of that nature. So really interesting. Ignoring mental and emotional health, right? Like that's kind of, we talked about that too, just about chronic stress and about just managing stress the right way. Those things really add up over time. So like we talked about, signs of adrenal fatigue or dysfunction are extreme fatigue, craving salt or sugar, trouble waking up in the morning. And that's a really big one that a lot of people don't realize. I think we've got used to like waking up and feeling exhausted, but that's like not a normal thing at all. Like that's not normal. When your cortisol's levels are correct and your circadian rhythm is correct, you should wake up in the morning with high cortisol, which you do anyways, but you should jump up. Your cortisol is naturally the stress hormone just that's just how it works. It's high in the morning, which gives you the ability to kind of just jump up out of bed. The sun is up, you look into the light of the sun, you're up, you're awake, your cortisol's high. In the nighttime, like we talked about so many times, your cortisol is lower, right? That's why we need candles, or we need, the right type of candles. We need red lights, or just no lights at all, no overhead lights at nighttime. That's how we're able to let our body wind down and say, okay, like the sun's down, it's time for my body to wind down. Your cortisol levels drop, which allows you to get that deep REM sleep, um, which is so interesting. And that's what really hit me too, because I was talking to this guy on the phone and he was telling me, yeah, if you don't wake up in the morning, and you're not like awake and like jumping out of bed, essentially, like you have some type of adrenal fatigue. And I think it's safe to say like most Americans have this. Like this is a very like normal thing with when you add in all the overhead lights, the excessive caffeine and coffee drinks that we just like chug all day long, the excessive artificial sugars and artificial just food we're intaking on a day-to-day basis. Like we're just totally hijacking our systems and our adrenal glands, which essentially when you do that, your adrenal glands are working overtime. So your body's never really able to rest, right? So if your adrenal glands are always spiked off caffeine, blue light, all this other stuff, you're skipping meals or poor diet, right? Your poor sleep habits, chronic stress, suppressing emotions, poor mental health, like that is all just working your adrenal glands so hard, and you're never able to actually recover. And we need that. Like our bodies need to like recover and go through cycles, or else we're just overworking our bodies. So you see people all the time, they're like yawning all day. They need their next fix of coffee. They're just like so tired. That is adrenal fatigue. There's something missing there. People should not, that's not a normal thing. Our bodies are so capable. We shouldn't be yawning around, relying on a caffeine source to get us through the day. That's not normal at all. And it's normalized in the culture, but it's just like it's not how our bodies were designed to perform. Our bodies are much more complex and capable, but we're overworking them to the point where we need that caffeine and we've become so reliant on it because our body's so overworked. We're never really rested, right? Because we're not allowing our body to rest, that we need that next drink or energy drink or whatever to get through. But essentially it's just like every day we're just hijacking it more and more. So that's just so interesting to me. Which it just blows my mind. But then the next question would be, how can we essentially fix our adrenal glands, right? And fix adrenal fatigue, so that we can perform better and just be better, have more energy all around, and just thrive. Chronic stress, of course, I think it's pretty simple. Removing chronic stress, prioritizing resting. I think that's huge, right? Um, Burning out, just in general, I think it's good to like slow down sometimes and like really take time to just like decompress. I think that's like things like as simple as like journaling or whatever you want to call it, like prayer in the morning, things like that. Like just like slowing down and like really like taking time to be present is so good just for that like emotional part of it, which that all affects, which is just crazy to think about something so simple like sitting down for 5 or 10 minutes and just being still can like totally change literally things inside of your body. It's just like it's hard to believe. Improving your sleep, right? So we talked about that 2 weeks ago, but like red lights, beeswax candles, you know, um, just getting the proper sleep, going to bed at a reasonable time, things of that nature, as much as you can, right? Like it's not going to be perfect ever, but as much as you can, getting in that habit, eating the right diet, right? A lot of these, I mean, we all know this by now, but a lot of the fast food and all the junk that's being eaten, full of seed oils and artificial sugars and pesticides, uh, preservatives. I mean, the list goes on. That stuff is clearly, not helping us and not good for our bodies. And so, eating the right diet. And if you guys ever have more questions on that, Gemma and I both could talk about that for days. So, um, anywho, limit stimulants. So my thing is like I cut back on caffeine after noon most days. I mean, I used to do like 10 a.m. But sometimes it just like it doesn't happen that way. So if it's like afternoon, I really don't do that. I think everyone has their own opinion on it. And some people are like, I can drink coffee at like 6 at night and go to bed just fine. Well, I'm sure you can go to bed just fine, but your adrenal glands are still working the whole night when you're sleeping, and your body, you might not feel it, but you're 1% worse than you were the day before. It might just be a tiny percentage, but every day, like these things add up. Like I hear it all the time. It's like people are like, I can like drink all this and I'm like totally fine. Well, you might be able to go to sleep that night completely fine and you can do it. But it's the we're after the long-term effect here. Like this is like really, really, really bad for our bodies.
Yeah, that
Um,
1% buildup over time often results in things like kidney stones, which is
yes,
people that I work with. And like we look at their lifelong habits, it's like, oh, you take like literally espresso at 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. They,
so
every single one of them has kidney stones, gallbladder issues, and like really bad gut scenarios. So like they will constantly be gassy and like major symptoms of leaky gut, bloated stomachs.
wow,
Like you don't they don't consider that as a bad thing for your health because it's accepted in American society to look that way and to feel that way. Um,
right.
and
So
and
unreal.
genuinely, they likely they don't remember what a truly good, deeply restful night of sleep actually feels like. And just like knocking out and being dead for however many hours they're able to sleep is enough. And so it's just the twisted framework that we're given in today's society of how what's functional for us to be performing at or for us to be sleeping at or how we should move through the day. Chronic stress can override our bodies and give us a like you know how people say when you're in a relationship you have a rosy-eyed or rose-eyed or rose-colored glasses on the things that you should be noticing. It's kind of what happens with adrenal fatigue. It's like you don't notice the things that are actually wrong in your body and in your system that you would otherwise notice if you were healthy. But because there's your body's in a state of chronic fatigue or nervous system overdrive, and a constant state of fight or flight, you don't notice the things that are unhealthy about you.
Wow. So good. That's real.
Yeah, yeah,
I would say like two more points and then we'll let Gemma really get into caffeine because caffeine also has a lot of positive things too, right? And there's a lot of like studies that are on coffee and how coffee is really good for you, which is so cool to think about that coffee is amazing for you. But you have to be careful where you're getting it from. Like a lot of the coffee is moldy. And if you're drinking in plastic cups or the whatever, I don't know what it's called, the styrofoam or the whatever type of cups they are, full of microplastics.
yeah.
Um, so either way, like if you can drink your coffee the right way, it's not moldy and it's good stuff. But Gemma will get into the good stuff. But either way, also exercising smartly. So like when you're training for a big Ironman, half Ironman, marathon, whatever it may be, or just like even something like small that's like a big thing for you, avoid overtraining. So like I think it's really important to like, especially for like people that are like high intensity and that like want to like push really hard. Like I think it's really important to like train right, and like proper training. Like when I did my marathon in Hawaii, I didn't train the right way, and I feel like I genuinely burnt out. I know I burnt out physically. Like it was my adrenals were like shot, which is not a good thing to do repeatedly. One time, I think I'll be fine. I feel fine, you know. I mean, I think I have some symptoms of tiredness, you know, here and there, but I yeah, I don't want to get in the habit of that and I wouldn't recommend it. So exercising smart and taking the proper steps to train is really important. Um, but you could also get your hormones and adrenals tested, which is really cool. You get your cortisol levels tested, thyroid function, hormone balance, which is really cool. I haven't done anything like that, but I think it's possible and it could be really cool. Um, and then one more thing that's is really cool too, because I know we do a lot of stuff with essential oils. I thought I'd add in if you want nutritional support, it's actually really cool. doTERRA has something called VMG, it used to be called Lifelong Vitality. That's really good for supporting this type of thing. So it includes essential vitamins, minerals, omega 3s, antioxidants to support overall energy and adrenal health, which is really cool. And so I take it every day. It's these VMG packets. but that definitely combats it well, and because um, yeah, it just helps really well. And I definitely feel a difference when I take it. And then frankincense is also another oil that you can use, and that supports immune function and reduces inflammation. Um, and so you can rub that um, on the back of your neck. You can breathe it in, diffuse it, things like that. And they say take a drop internally every day. But things like that are some things that I do to help kind of fight back against it. And then one more thing. This is a fun fact, and then I'm gonna wrap up here. So apparently, I don't know how true this is, but I heard you can look on someone's fingertips, and if they have adrenal fatigue or chronic stress overload, you can look on their fingertips, and if there's lines, kind of like when you like wash your hands and do the dishes and they're wrinkled like that, but you don't want to like test the person right after they've like washed the dishes, obviously. But if you want to look at someone and see if they're chronically on overdrive or if their adrenals are in a fatigue state, it's more like the chronic think conditions, but you'll see like lines. I don't know how true this is, so like don't quote me, but that's what I've heard. And so maybe you guys can look around and start noticing that. And that Jeva, you're looking right now.
I'm totally looking.
It's funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I had for adrenal.
I
Well,
would
I have.
love to see a reflexology map because they have reflexology maps for the hand, and if the adrenals are on the fingertips, it would make sense because you can manipulate your physiology neurologically by activating pressure points on your whole hand and the bottom of your feet because they hold the reflexology map of the all the organ systems in your body. So it does make complete sense that they would correlate. I think you should find the actual the source of that and share it with the chat.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
wanted to
should.
know because it sounds really interesting. So I have a few things. I'm gonna say three things about one with coffee, and then about having a balanced resting system, and then lastly, the time in nature to reduce cortisol. Time in nature 30 minutes or more is shown to reduce cortisol levels.
Mm.
So you can get tested. That's great. That's a very modern day thing. It's like, oh, well, I'm experiencing a lot of stress. If you came to me, I'm a coach, I would say, okay, you're going to have to implement 30 minutes minimum outside daily. This is a way to create a sustainable practice to reduce cortisol over the span of your entire life. That's a functional habit for you to start implementing. So my goal whenever someone speaks to me and I see that maybe they have some kind of cortisol issues, adrenal fatigue issues, energy levels are out of whack, obviously your hormones are going to be affected. If your blood sugar can't balance, it's all going to be symptoms that are going to lead me to say spend time in nature to reduce your cortisol. What's something that can add information to our adrenal glands because we know that they balance our electrolytes. Electrolytes are minerals. And why does the VMG that doTERRA has help us so much? Because it has so many minerals within the herbs and the salts that are in there that supply your body with something that's absolutely necessary for us to have every day. So many people don't have the 5 grams of salt a day that should sustain your electrolyte balance, much less high mineral salt, which you can get from things like Redmond salt or um,
Hmm.
organic sea salt or Celtic salt. Those all have 80 plus minerals in them, and having that daily will supply your adrenals with the energy that is the messenger to the adrenal glands and many other glands in your body to produce the hormones and the energy necessary for the day and so that you can actually fall asleep at night. That's the whole circadian rhythm balance that we've been talking about this month. So, spending 30 minutes or more time in nature, and that's why some of us have been sending pictures on the group chat, exercising and spending time in nature, getting your hands in the soil if possible, or just smelling some kind of leaves or the grass or some plants that you planted outside or taking a leaf off of a tree and crushing it in your hands and smelling it literally produces the effect of enriching your body with like a state of calmness and well-being
Mm.
and security that you're going to be okay. And it actually reduces cortisol. So without actually buying an an intervention to reduce your cortisol level, you can affect it that way. We can have regular amounts of minerals, which will supply our adrenals and many other organs, but I know that adrenals need minerals. So if you're experiencing something like fatigue, make sure you're having electrolytes, whether it's a little sachet. I love doTERRA's recharge sachets.
Mm.
I'm also using a new electrolyte product. It's called Tudka. It's a replica of um, bear the bile acid that a bear produces. It's a synthetic byproduct of that, but it's a replica of that with shilajit, which is a high mineral tar that's harvested in the mountains.
Whoa.
A bunch of other stuff. It's actually really good for male sex hormones also. So it would have an incredible impact on the adrenal glands. So a couple really great mineral products that or electrolyte focused mineral products that would help boost your adrenals, whether you are experiencing fatigue, you have had an adrenal crash, or you just want to have an overall checkup and make sure you're doing your daily things to make sure you're having lifelong results of healthy adrenals and you're supporting them in every way possible. Lastly, caffeine. Always remember this. Timing, I know it's getting dark, you kind of can't see me. Timing, dosage, and volume. Timing, dosage, and quality. So dosage can be removed with volume. So timing, the time of the day is really important. 1 hour after you've woken up because you want your cortisol to do its thing and you don't want to contradict it with caffeine, which is also cortisol producing um, compound. What it does to the body is it increases your metabolism or metabolic speed on every single cell. The reason it feels like you're getting a lot of energy is because it turns on energy production in every single cell of the body and it makes it like run faster. Like it's like pressing the gas pedal. So you don't want to be pressing the gas pedal at all hours of the day doing that in the morning, starting your
Right.
engine in the morning naturally, giving yourself an hour for cortisol to come up, and then maybe like say you wake up at 7 or 8 a.m. Some people wake up earlier, but we're just gonna stick with that window. Starting 9 a.m. starting your caffeine at 9 a.m. and finishing up at noon or 1 o'clock gives your body enough time to use that window for full throttle, so you're going 60 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, 120, to slow down by the time it's 9 p.m. for you to actually fall asleep in a really good way.
Yeah.
Lastly, quality is so important. Moldy coffee is everywhere, and that is what's going to cause the whole system be fatigued and have or to go through a toxic overload which causes fatigue. It overloads those organs that are trying to filter, and when the organs can't filter inside of your body, when there's mold in the food that you're consuming, um, they have a harder time to produce energy or give the organs that produce energy the nutrients they need to do their job. So if there's mold in your system from something like coffee, you're going to actually feel more depleted and more tired over time. One way to boost your coffee, obviously get clean coffee, know your sources, just like everything else we talk about going to the farmer's market, know who you're getting your coffee from. Um, Putting things
True.
like MCT oil, excuse me, or butter and emulsifying it ensures that the coffee is getting to your cells and the water from the coffee is getting to your cells like 100% as opposed to like 30%. So it's the whole
Wow.
concept of structured water, if you guys have heard of that. There's the system called Kangen water where it ionizes the water. It's like drinking water from a waterfall, which is living water, as opposed to a pond where it's still water, even if it was clean. So I would
Whoa.
prefer the water from a waterfall. When you put something like butter or MCT oil, which comes from coconut oil, super, super healthy. MCT oil, though, is a concentrated form of that coconut oil. You could never consume the accurate amount of that MCT oil or of coconut oil if you were trying to get the dosage that they're getting in the MCT. So add that to your shopping list and try it out. I guarantee you, you're going to have a higher mental performance and more energy in the same amount of coffee that you normally would have. and you feel good. It's like a sustained energy. It's very different. And I personally love butter in my coffee. That's all I got to say on
That's
coffee,
so good.
all those things.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. I actually didn't know about I know a lot of people drink grass-fed butter. They put really good butter in their coffee. Um, but I didn't know. I figured it was for that reason. I feel like I'd heard it, but I actually didn't know exactly why. So thank you. That's really, really cool.
It's really interesting. And then when you try it and go try it and experience it, you're like, this is different. Be sure to emulsify it. If you have a like a blender or a frother for like mixing drinks and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's into every single molecule of the coffee. So that when you're
Wow.
drinking it, you're not just drinking a top layer of butter and then black coffee or whatever kind of coffee you drink afterwards. It makes such a difference.
Profit.
Yeah.
So sick. Thank you for sharing that. That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
I'm gonna turn on my lights real quick.
Wow. Well, yeah, guys, that's a lot on adrenal fatigue and caffeine and a lot of different things. But does anyone have anything they've learned or they want to share or just yeah, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the MCT oil, the bulletproof coffee,
Yeah.
Yes.
for some time now,
Uh-huh.
and it like I notice like when I go back and forth between like just drinking straight black
Uh-huh.
and like I notice like a huge difference. Like I can tell that I sustain more energy throughout the day because of the fats that are in the butter and the MCT oil,
Yeah.
and more than just drinking straight black. And I also do Shilajit too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What
We
kind
did
do
that the
you
first time the other day together.
Natural. It's called natural Shilajit,
have?
but
Okay.
because I know that there are brands out there that are kind of like they're not like the real stuff, and it's not as effective. So you have to like be careful with that. But I'm pretty sure this is a good brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a little bit of Shilajit.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'll
Is
do
that
that with some honey. So good.
Oh, good, 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 good. You enjoy it. I've done it in tinctures. So my mom actually grew up in this city where it's harvested in
Mhm.
Russia,
Whoa.
in those mountains. So my grandpa would go up into the mountains and harvest the tar from the mountain rock.
So sick.
And so
Wow.
that's how she knew about it for a long time. And then it became this whole like a biohacker, health hacker fanatic thing. Like it became super popular. And she's like, we've been doing this for a while. So like we went and got a ton from our people and we make it
Whoa.
in like a little
Expensive.
dropper. And it tastes disgusting, but now people are coming out with ways to like mix it with honey or put it into like a powder supplement and stuff. So the
Yeah,
world's changing and they're figuring it out.
it's very earthy. I kind of like it tastes like tea to me, like
Oh,
green tea. It's
really?
just yeah, that's how I taste it, but like I add some honey or I even like mix it with my green tea and I do
Okay.
that and it tastes just fine.
Uh-huh.
But
I might
I
have
mean,
to send you both a our version of the shilajit and see if you guys taste a difference.
You're more than welcome to do that.
No, it's proven to like improve testosterone levels in men like nothing else. Kind of like Tonga Ali, if you guys have heard of that.
Mm.
It's another herb, but does similar. But like it's Shilajit is just so high in minerals. It's like a competitive to any salt on the market. It just doesn't taste like salt. So
so
that's about
Jenna,
it. Yeah.
would you say like substitute like coffee for like Shilajit, like a Shilajit drink or
Wow. No.
no?
No, coffee has its own benefits. It has like neuroprotective and boosting benefits. It
Mhm.
boosts your metabolism too. What Shilajit provides is minerals. That's something that coffee can never give you.
Yeah.
Coffee actually takes minerals from your body. So if you're having in the morning something with salt or shilajit or like salt water in the morning, you're adding to your body's bank and then coffee kind of takes it away. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing if your coffee is mold free. It's a really tough thing for your body to handle if your body does or if the coffee does have mold. Then you
Mhm.
have to like double dose on the minerals and you would have to yeah, boost shilajit. I think that's why people are having such profound results with Shilajit because most people are just so mineral depleted. that
Yeah.
when they start adding things like Shilajit or the VMG packets or electrolytes, they're like, whoa, this is like crazy. It's just like you guys were just depleted forever.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
you have to refill your electrolyte stores on a daily basis. Like we burn them out through peeing and sweating, you know?
Mhm.
Right.
Same.
Yeah. And another question, like with the mold, is that like coffee like that? Is that like non-organic, like Maxwell and Folgers and stuff
Yeah.
like that? Like
Yeah.
those.
Those are
Okay.
generally they're called commodity coffees. So the cheapest coffee you can get on the market because they're highly unregulated. Um, there's like a grade system for coffees, and if it's like 60 and under, I don't think they list it anywhere on the containers, but if it's 60 and under, it's likely to have mold because it's the cheapest on the market. They sell it in hundreds and millions of pounds. Like that's what Starbucks uses, and they're able to roast in these massive two-story size roasting machines versus
Wow.
have like a small coffee roaster. You walk into their shop, they have this like little furnace and they're making their own coffee. They're likely getting a 70 to 90 percentile grade of coffee. And that's more regulated. That's like literally the family of the people they're getting it from. It's a family farm that's been owned for generations. They're literally caring for every tree. They're going through every coffee bean. Like the more the family who owns the farm picks through every bean, the higher the chance you're not going to have mold in it. You know,
Wow.
the more cared for the item is.
Right.
Just
Just
in
with anything
general.
too.
Exactly, just like with anything. Yeah.
Crazy to think that so many people on a day-to-day basis are just drinking moldy coffee in like plastic cups. And it's just like so bad. The hot water, the coffee heats up, soaks all the millions of microplastics in. They're just right into the body. It's just like unreal that this is like a normal thing.
That's the other thing is the water supply. Drinking your coffee with reverse osmosis water, which is like without the fluorides and the bleaches that is in regular tap water, is going to change the flavor of your water. I mean, of your coffee, first of all. And it's also just going to be more beneficial. Like you're not putting crap into your system
Right.
while you're trying to have a good coffee. So,
So cool.
David, thank you so much for sharing that link. I'm going to share that to the chat, the group chat
That's sweet.
on messages and on Instagram.
Yeah, of course. They're actually a coffee place here in Greenville. They just have their warehouse here. It's not like an actual coffee shop. But yeah, they do like mold-free like coffee, and there's like a bunch of other benefits for it. And it's like single origin and stuff. So yeah, if you're looking
That's
for
sweet.
a
Thank you for sending.
substitute.
That's cool.
Yeah. Also, like off topic, but like maybe potentially for another topic. I don't know how familiar you guys are with like um it's like what is it called? IV therapy.
Uh-huh.
IV
Have
therapy.
you guys done it? Like I'm kind of
Yeah.
like new to it and like looking into it, and there's like I have a holistic dentist that I go to, and like they're like, yeah, like all the doctors and like the nurses there, they'll go like to this like holistic IV therapy place, and like you can get like minerals, and like they can actually like take out your blood and do like the is it like ozone or something like that?
That ozonate your blood.
Yes. Have you like are you familiar with that at all?
So I went to a clinic who did it, and I can't remember the name of it, but we like got a package deal, all of this. My whole family went through it. We're getting an insurance payout for some deal that happened, and we had to take care of our health because of it. So we went and did it. And then as we're doing it, we're learning more from the clinic, and then we're learning more from the doctors that we work with. And we're like, IV therapy is great for a very small amount of things on the roster on the menu of things that they offer in IV therapies. It is likely that like 70% of it is going to be better absorbed in an injectable form or in an oral form. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Getting
Like a
it through
Nutella
getting it
mineral or something.
intravenous is going to be more expensive, and it's not going to be as absorbable into your body. It's not as bioavailable is actually what the word is. So like I was just listening to this podcast on Dave Asprey. He was talking about NAD, which is probably the one nutrient that, as humanity, we all need like the most on any age, any gender. Everybody needs NAD, and people. It's really popular right now in IV therapy, but it's really not bioavailable, and it feels like insane when you're going through it. You feel like your body's really hot. You feel like a balloon. It's just like you're getting all of these experiences or you could just take it in oral supplement or like a spray, and not have that experience because it's also assisted with water, a saline solution. So, yeah, there's a lot. It's really interesting though if you want to dive into something specific of like if you're deficient in something, um,
Yeah.
find out is it better through an IV therapy or is it better through an oral or is it better through an injectable, which don't be scared. It's usually like a really like not invasive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, cool. I was just like kind of new to it. It was kind of new to me, and it, like I just like just starting to hear about it, and I'm like, oh, I need to like maybe I should look into this more, see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Really
Wow,
interesting.
that's cool. Yeah, we should look into that more. Maybe we can do a topic on it. That'd be
Yeah.
sweet. That's
I have
cool.
a friend who worked in an IV therapy clinic and he kind of got us on it. And then he left the clinic and we're like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. So it's like very much like a social fad type of thing. Like if you have a community that's doing it, it's fun to go do it. It's just also really expensive. It's expensive to do. So if you're going to do it, know what deficiency you have and why you're treating it. So then you know like what to look for and expect when you feel better, and then like have tests to prove that it's actually working. As with a lot of things like supplements and stuff too.
Yeah, no,
Right.
for sure.
Great question.
Wow,
We might dive into that.
that's sweet. Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for hopping on, everybody.
Mhm.
Hope you guys learned something. And then I think we're gonna do maybe a voting, some type of thing. I don't know how we're gonna set it up, but if you guys don't know, we're doing the Wellness Maverick retreat sometime this summer, maybe towards the end. We'll see. But we're gonna maybe do some polls soon, or maybe some voting on where, and then what type of yeah, just like on things of the trip. And so keep your ears and eyes peeled for that.
Yes. Yes. Excited to share with you guys. And next month's topic is going to be athletic training and recovery. So we're all Gen Z. This is what this group is catered towards, 18 to 27. We're all in our prime athletic age range to start our athletic careers in general, or athletic pursuits in the best way. And next month will be all about learning the ways we can support that in the best way possible.
Cool. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see
Have
you
a
guys
good
later.
one. Bye, guys.